Well, the stock has positively supplanted Tesla as the name that exchanges most of dollar volume each day. Less Erdic. We should start. However, with Nvidia flooding on that victory quarter, deals more than triple driven areas of strength for computer-based intelligence, chips direction surpasses agreement. This is Jensen Wong on the call the previous evening. This last year, we've seen generative simulated intelligence truly turning into an entirely different application space, an entirely different approach to doing, registering an entirely different industry is being framed. And that is drive our development. We guide each quarter in turn, yet essentially the circumstances are phenomenal. For proceeded with development Schedule 24 to Schedule 25, and past greatest single day market. Cap moved. Jim beating Meta half a month prior. Definitely, it ought to be more. I feel that what's happened is, you understand, has frequently been the situation with Nvidia from around 2014, that when you see a number, you understand that the stock ended up being extremely modest a year prior. And I think individuals need to acknowledge, for example, actually a few astonishing information of when we assumed we felt that they planned to procure $20 toward the year's end in the schedule year. The prob, I believe that they could now do 2460, so even in only a month and a half back. We thought they planned to acquire $4 short of what they will individuals need to comprehend, while you're attempting to esteem a stock. What that says is that stock that was extravagant 2 months prior ends up being sensibly esteemed. And that matters, so you don't generally dislike Key going to 1100 or Bernstein going to a Thie 000 today. No, I believe that what Jensen invested a ton of energy spreading out when he discussed the thought. Recollect that we have two things going on. We have the speed increase processing, and afterward we have Junior of simulated intelligence. What he did was spread out something that individuals have not been willing to do, which is to say, dislike the 38646 Pentium 2, where the 386 is truly opus old. It's that you can utilize the H100, the H200. They'll do some new programming. There won't be a troublesome progress, and that was truly significant in light of the fact that I think many individuals were stressed that there could be a hole, just like the case in a ton of innovation. And this is one of the extraordinary Peeler developed stories. Presently recollect that he's utilizing trillions. He's fundamentally saying the entire world, all that we have, which is general figuring, is obsolete. So we need to retry everything in the event that we need to do all that. Whether it be auto, you think he has shared with me again and again, fabricating is by a wide margin. The greatest market on the planet. Well, all that is made will likewise need to utilize his chips, definitely. And that is the reason the bin of retrying old server farms, constructing new server farms, a gigantic pales of interest. These more limited lead times. Jim is that indication of cooling request. No, not by any stretch of the imagination. It's at last they have Taiwan. Semi-cooking. These things are exceptionally difficult to make. They're extremely huge. And something he likewise discussed is that there are double purposes. So, assuming you're a cloud specialist organization, you need them for yourself. Yet you additionally need them for the 2 or 3 organizations that were called out powerfully Meta, called out as a beast client of their item. And I believe that was vital on the grounds that I figure individuals ought to understand that is derivation. That is the reason their Instagram promotions are so great. Got down on Google, got down on assistants. Currently, administration presently 2 times, saying that they are the ones that had the option to utilize they've ready to foster generative computer-based intelligence to have the option to help work process. The center was Magnane. It was a perfectly tuned call. CAC Peak, one of my hash one CFOs. She was somewhat more bubbly. She let me know that she felt that was false, yet I can distinguish excitement from anybody. And afterward, Jensen comes in on the question and answer. Jensen he was more Stravinsky the previous evening than he was Taylor Swift. He's been Da Vinci. He can be Stravinsky. He can be anything. He can be anything he needs, since he might be the most brilliant man on the planet. Well, the stock has unquestionably supplanted Tesla as the name that exchanges most a dollar volume. Each day, Erdic. And to your point about the tone, the previous evening, this is Jensen Huang discussing development on the call. Generative artificial intelligence has started off an entirely different venture cycle to construct the following $1 trillion of framework of man-made intelligence age plans. We accept these two patterns will drive a multiplying of the world's server farm foundation introduced base in the following 5 years, and will address a yearly market, an amazing open door to many billions. Right? I mean, he's essentially saying you $2 or $3 trillion foundation, that must be revamped. There's ostensibly there's 40 trillion in makers. Seemingly everything must be revamped. You need to take a gander at, like he says, the general processing, which we consider Intel has run out. Mo's regulation has run out. As what's happened is that there's not any more game even discussed how they're devaluing this stuff longer, since they wouldn't put any more cash in it. This is where the cash is. It's multiple times quicker. But it copies cooler, which is vital to Genset. Since he's enemy of waste, there's a stunning call, and I believe that there will be individuals, I consider them Elwell. These are individuals who needed to obliterate the loom. In 1811, they came protected from plummeted from Sherwood Bars, Nottinghamshire, and felt that maybe it's off base that we have such a strong loom that wipes out needle workers. Well, this organization will clear them out all over the place. And by how one of the most remarkable minutes was the point at which they discussed sovereign artificial intelligence, that we can't have it be in English. Each country on the planet, save maybe China, must have its own Jensen, its own Nvidia. Definitely. That is the sovereign component, has been one of his enormous principles. Most recent couple of weeks help watchers comprehend the effect China had on server farm in the quarter. Well, look, I mean, he's been saying over, and I was kidding about it yesterday, he will say that it's incredible debasement. It's going to not disappear yet, it will decline considerably. Yet the issue there is that everyone needs them. There was a colossal measure of discussed distribution, and how Jensen will offer them decently. So, accept me, the Chinese are going to, their item will be sold. And they questioned this with me initially when I said, listen, might you at any point mark that item up that would have gone to China? Said, look, Jim, we don't do that. We don't exploit any client and say, listen, China's not utilized them. We will check them up. 20%. Something that they spent. You realize they're exceptionally close with every one of their clients. And one reason they're so close is they don't do that stuff. Jensen's exceptionally close with Zuckerberg. I think we've really seen, I will venture to such an extreme as to say that you're seeing a Jensen impact in the manner Zuckerberg conducts himself. Since Jensen is light, he's light. He isn't, I'm saying, not serious. Perhaps the most serious individual world. Think individual C. Yet, you see, they work extremely close. They are genuine companions. Since I asked him, I said, how frequently do you address imprint? He says constantly. And at first I said, well, the way that's that conceivable. He represents battle, you represent harmony. And he said, no, that is not. So that on a superficial level, yet there's a ton of gaiety, congeniality in the relationship. And that is the reason I think Meta emerged similar to the main client as far as import of their business. Keith Fitz goes along with us. Now I need to discuss Tesla.